President Perino, members of the board. Tonight, we have the legally required public hearing. This is our final presentation of the already approved by the Board of Education budget. And just want to note up there, the budget vote is on Tuesday, May 15th. So as I discussed a little bit earlier, according to New York State law, we're required to have a public hearing no less than 7 days or 14 days prior to the budget vote. And we need to present the budget in three formats: an administrative, a program, and a capital. And this is why the Board of Education has their input through the whole process. We have a public session where the community can come up and present their concerns about the budget. So if we recap the process, we actually started back in December. Jeff Smith, our financial advisor, came in and spoke to us about our 3-year plan. Then through the month of February, March, April, and here we are in May. We've had quite a few budget presentations. All the meetings are available on MIDI TV, and all the presentations are up on our website under the community link and then tax and budget. You can find all the presentations there, as well as the board minutes. So one of the components is administrative. First, I'd like to point out all the board members at their table have received the budget news. This will be going out in your mailboxes to the community tomorrow. Over the next couple of days, you'll receive it. This, what I'm presenting tonight, is just taking a snapshot of what's in this brochure and just presenting it tonight. So we have the administrative portion, which is an increase of 7.71% this year. This is all the Board of Education functions, tax collector. You can read most of the list up there. Basically, the administrative functions for the whole district. BOCES administrative charges, our insurance costs, what it costs for research and planning. And these dollar amounts here are without benefits. So in the what we do a little bit different, we actually have the fourth component as our benefits component. So our proposed program this year is up 5.36%. This has everything to do with student instruction, essentially anywhere from staff down to contract transportation, our psychological services, health services, computer services, our special schools that we have, including summer school, things like that. Has the super courses in there, and again, that's up 5.36%. Our proposed capital this year is up 18.55. Over the past month, we've been talking about why this is dramatically increased, and I'll show you on the next slide. We're putting some money into our infrastructure out of the fund balance. So if you see under the transfer to food service and capital, it's quite a significant number, over $4 million. That's what's causing the 18.55% increase there. Under the other capital components, we have our debt service. We also have our operations and maintenance functions, custodians, cleaners, buildings and grounds. And then the second line down, we also have the school resource officers. That is new for the budget this year. And that would be a resource officer for every school. And then the fourth component is our proposed benefits. This is where our health insurance and all of our for our state employees' retirement, our teachers' retirement fund, Social Security, workers' comp, anything that has to do with benefits for an employee is under this program. And that's actually, we're seeing a decrease of a little bit over 3% this year, primarily because we're using some of our reserves to offset some of our payments. And our health plan seems to really be thriving, and we're able to sustain some savings there. So over the past 2 years, we're over right around $4.5 million in savings in our health plan since going self-funded. So hopefully we'll continue to see savings there. So our summary, in the end, our total increase is 5.82%, up over just about $10.5 million from last year's budget. But in there, we have the capital projects that we talked about. That's what's driving the increase. And then the SROs are on there. Then we also have some of the other things we talked about, was adding new staff for psychological services, new bus routes, things like that. And so we talked about those in couple different meetings now, and this is just recapitulating what we've already discussed. So our proposed budget for this year is $189,966,196. Our budget increase is 5.82%. Our tax levy this year is 1.87, under the 2% tax cap. And I'll show you a little bit how we were able to do that with reserves and fund balance. So our tax cap levy with 1.87% is almost $75,878,805, and that increase from last year is $1,395,057. This is our tax cap calculation. It's something we have to do in February to determine what our actual maximum allowable tax levy could be. If you see the top number, that's $76,518,805. What we're proposing is $640,000 less than the actual allowable tax levy. Because under the tax cap is negative, we need 50 plus 1 votes to pass the budget. If our tax cap was in a positive, we would need 60% of the vote. What we talked about a little bit are capital improvements. We've talked about this in several meetings. One of them is resurfacing the track, replacing the video board, replace the turf on the field, and then renovating the library in the high school. This will be actually zero cost to the property owners. We're using fund balance to pay for these, and then when we submit the projects, we'll receive state aid on this money as well. So back in 2008-9 is when the new track stadium came online. We kind of figured in 10 years or so we would need to replace some of the turf and the track and some of those things. We did discuss a few meetings ago, really over since the inception of holding state meets and regional events. It's estimated over $10 million revenue to the community. That's for hotels, restaurants, gas, things of that nature. So it is very economically rewarding for the community if they could choose to support this type of budget. So here's what we're doing using reserves and fund balance. We talked about the capital projects, a little over $4 million there. We're using the unappropriated fund balance of $5,799,227 to lower the taxes. We're using workers' comp reserve and the employee retirement reserve. So this year we're almost at $11 million of using reserve and fund balances to help offset the tax levy. Okay, if we had to go to a contingent budget, what is that? If the first budget doesn't pass 2 times, we need to go back to last year's levy, and then with that, what actually happens is we would need to cut $5.5 million. Majority of that would be the capital fund, because if you look down what law mandates, there's no equipment purchases, there's no capital projects or anything. The only thing that we could really fund for capital projects or equipment would be smart schools, computer hardware purchases, because those are state aid. There's no salary increases for those employees outside of bargaining units, and all facilities would be charged a fee. So if the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts wanted to come in, rent the gymnasium, they would be charged a fee. Any other recreational programs, etc., would be charged. Hopefully we don't have to do the contingent one. Some of the frequently asked questions. The Board of Education, through all of our communication with our financial advisors, know that we need a 4% limit on our fund balance. But if you look at all the schools that are in peril financially, it's because they have zero money in their fund balance. And they do, the comptroller sees them in fiscal stress. As you know, our last report, we are not in fiscal stress. So that's a good thing for our district. And why that's good for us is the Moody's ratings give us a big A, small A3 rating, which is one of the highest ratings for bonds. So we're able to borrow a significant amount of money at a very low premium, which is very hard to do. So we're able to leverage the fund balance, because when they look at selling bonds, they actually have interviews with the district, and they're trying to figure out, and they look at all your financial documents. They want to make sure you're solvent and can manage your money well. The current estimated fund balance for June 30th, After funding legal and appropriate reserves will be about 2 years' worth of the current annual fund balance contribution. Basically putting aside money for the reserves in case the economy goes bad. It's an election year coming up, so we're not sure what's going to happen next year. So it's good to have reserves for those rainy days. And a reminder that the budget vote is on Tuesday, May 15th. If you need to register for voting, please call Taryn at 326-1196. And if you need to know where to vote, it's online. You can find out what polling place you would go to. It's up on our website. Okay. 2 things I just want to mention. I did mention the budget news will be delivered in the mailboxes at homes soon. That basically outlines where our budget is, talks about our programs, and basically announces our budget notice. Okay. And then the other thing that's available in the district clerk office and online is our master budget document that shows all our account codes and all the things that are mandated by the state that we need to have in a budget binder. All the board members have one of those as well. And that was distributed, I think, the other day, Monday or so. Okay, anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Tuttle.
Okay.
Now we'll take public comments on this budget. Who would like to comment? Anyone?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Well, we've gone over this 3 or 4 times, but yes.
Okay, never
go
mind.
Ahead. Go ahead.
What is the date that is the last date to register if they're not registered?
Okay, this past Tuesday?
Past Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh,
So
so
I
there's, okay. So then you really can't register people now to vote? Okay. I don't think we discussed that.
Go ahead. Have another one?
And when I'm being asked questions, is there approximate amount that I can say with this? I mean, this is a good budget, but that I can say how much it would increase a person's taxes?
I don't know
We
that.
don't know that
I
yet,
can't, because
right?
the equalization rates would differ.
Okay.
And each year, a different town or municipality could be reevaluated. I wouldn't want to say a number and then be
Well, I just
way
want
off.
to emphasize that,
Yeah.
that we can't say it's
No, you can't,
$50
right.
increase
Yeah.
for a house assessed at whatever.
We don't usually get that information till August or September, unfortunately. But if you are new to the community, make sure or have purchased a home, make sure your STAR application is in. You get a refund there. That'll help lower your taxes.
Okay, that's all I had.
Any other comments?